Okay, so I was going to make a middle pillar video, but I decided against it since I decided rather just post a script for it because it's rather simple and me just standing there moving my thoughts on my mind and stuff. I want to make a very good video. So I'm just gonna put a script for that. We've already started practicing body relaxation, chakra stimulation. We become aware that the mind moves matter. We become aware that we can influence the energy on our bodies. We can move within us, and once we know that, we're making significant progress. Now we'll talk a little more about initiation and the demons, and just how to how these forces work, how you acquire them, and how you advance to the grades. So we will start talking about the 7 hells. There are 10 palaces in hell again. Then we start going down there, and then we start talking about like the makeup of demons, because so I'll say, for instance, you acquire a name, but again we're gonna get the communication now in the next few videos. You acquire a name, and you acquire the name that this demon is from, right? So then you descend to the right of descension down there to the demon's hell, and then you start breathing into, and as you're breathing this demon into, you're absorbing not only its energy, but the energy of that particular hell. And once you complete your call, you achieve equivalence of form, not only with the demon, but with that particular hell. And each hell corresponds to a grade of initiation. And so once you achieve equivalence of form with the grade, you now have that degree. And then that's how you go down to the grades, right? And the further down you go, the higher your grade, and the more your third eye opens, and the more you start experiencing everything, right? And then so the demons and the spheres themselves are it's kind of tricky, because the Gnostics saw they called the eons both realms and beings. This is true. So it's like, the greater the demon, the more it has inside it. The more demons it has inside it. All the servitors, they come with it. So once you call this up, you're bringing all those into you, and then the archdemons, they pretty much, they're like they're damned to the sphere, and all the demons under them, and all that, they live inside their bodies. And you then become, once you call your demon, you then become a walking temple, because you now have not only your own human consciousness, you now have the consciousnesses of all the demons that live inside you. So then you become a walking realm, and so because they're fourth dimensional beings beyond space and time. So it's true that people have pictures, and the spirits indwell these pictures, because to them, it's not a 2-dimensional piece of paper. It's actually a realm, and then so it's interesting, and for someone who's new to this stuff, you're like, it sounds kind of crazy, but that's how this shit's true, because this shit can't be made up, and so then you become a temple, and you become a walking realm, essentially. And so once you start acquiring the names of some of the demons, the servitors rather, of the demon which you're working with, you can send them on missions. You acquire their names, their offices, their powers, and then you can send them out. You'll start seeing their images in their mind at first, until you can see them physically and talk to them audibly. You will start seeing you'll start seeing their faces in your mind. I believe I talked about that before, how when the demon first shows up, they'll just be the face, no neck, and sometimes you see the head. Now, at first, you probably won't just see the face, and then you see if it has horns or a helmet or something. And these forms they take are expressive of their nature. So like if you see like a demon with he has 4 wings, and he's holding a sword or something. The 4 wings will they express its nature. So 4 wings will symbolize like he's swift in nature, and martial in character with the sword. And then depending on their nature, that's how they that's how they appear. You really can't read a book by its cover. Humans are the same. Their body takes the shape of their etheric body. Their etheric body is the shape of their nature. Therefore, they are expressed physically, and their physical appearance is an expression of what they are. So if you see someone that's evil, they probably are. if you see someone that looks fat and jovial, they probably are. You know, there's there may be a lot of other elements involved that may affect their nature. Loss, happiness, stuff like that. So they won't always adhere to their nature, but essentially you'll see what they look like. And you can read them by looking in their eyes. We're gonna get to that too. The eyes, that's something else. The windows to the soul, so they say. And I'm gonna tell you some crazy shit about the eyes later, and I'm gonna show you some crazy shit later about that. But for now, we're just learning about the nature of these entities and those of each hell. And then once you work with them, you acquire that power. Okay, so we have Gehenna is the first house, close to the earth. And in Gehenna, there is going to be you have of course Gehenna. Then you have Lilith is the Qlippoth of the first palace, and Belial. It used to be Nama, but Nama's not the prince of that one anymore. Because demons are like people too, in a way. They fight for power. They fight for power. That's why you see in different books, you'll see different hierarchies, and you'll see different Qlippoth and different archdemons assigned to different spheres. Because over time, the princes change places. One, you say, falls from grace in his particular situation, and another one takes his place. So Belial, the prince, is the archdemon of the first palace of Gehenna, and the first sphere is it's black flecked with green, right? And so it's on your meditation. That's what you're going to see. And the second palace of Gehenna, which corresponds to your soul. Although we're going downwards, just turn the tree downward, upside down, and just imagine going down like that. And that's how the houses are. So of the second sphere, that's going to be the second palace of Gehenna. We are going to have Gamaliel as the Qlippoth, and we are going to have Lilith the Elder as the archdemon. I also post images of what they look like. But Lilith the Elder, she has gray skin, green glowing serpent eyes, and she has crescent moon horns coming on top of her head. I see them as they are. These are the gods of the ancient world. They, however, showed images to their priests and their worshippers that were not really what they looked like. They did not correspond to their nature. But this was I wasn't saying that to fool them, but to get them to accept them. Right, because these are not evil, horrible entities that want to destroy people, and so they're trying to think of the best way to show themselves, so people will accept them, and then they give them their doctrines, and the doctrines are not evil. These doctrines are just, be your own fucking God and stand up for yourself. Don't be a servant, because that's what we're fighting for, right? So that's why their images are not such as they were. Let's take Baal for example. So Baal, in his ancient images, he would be standing a tall man. He might have some symbols like a tef crown on. Tef crown is one of the crowns of Egypt. It's not exactly the tef crown, but looks similar to it. If you look in the Egyptian iconography, you'll see the tef crown on that stuff is long and thin. He'd be wielding a lightning bolt like that, and he's like, he's a god of thunder. He's slashing stuff, whatever, But that's not what he looks like. Dude looks like a serpent. He's reptilian. He looks kind of crocodile-ish, or like but he's definitely reptilian. And sometimes when he first appears, you might just see a big snake eye, kind of like the eye of Saruman on Lord of the Rings, and it'd be like looking around like that, right? And then you zoom out, and you see his face. So that is him, and but that he's not one of the archdemons, but he's a pretty strong guy. I know him. Next, you descend down with Zelmoth. You have Samael HaQlippoth, because then you have the Prince Samael of Sheol, of the second palace. However, these guys got the same name, but Samael HaQlippoth is different. Again, I'm posting images, and then you have Balberith. Balberith is the archdemon of Zelmoth. Then we then go down to Sharmoth. From Sharmoth, we have Arab Zerek. Arab Zerek appears like a raven. We have Asmodeus. Asmodeus looks like a demonic crocodile. And these are the images as they look. And a lot of people may see them differently because I see them how the fuck they are. Next we go down to the Qlippoth, the Qlippoth Tifereth, which we don't call this. We just call them spheres. We don't use just Shod and Kokma and all that stuff. That's those guys. Also, we don't use the correspondences. We don't use planetary hours and then that stuff as I expressed before. And of this sphere, which is the realm of Titalion. This is how Titalion. We have Tag-Ge'eron and Balfagor. Balfagor is the ancient god Baal of Peor of the ancient world. Balfagor is the name that he prefers to go by. He looks like a viper. He has like horns going straight from the back top of his head. Next, we descend to Bereshakath. We have Galohab, and we have my brother Astaroth. Astaroth is in the ancient world predicted as a female and the consort of Baal. However, there are no male and female sexes in hell, or the spirit world rather. They're expressions of energy, right? And so it prefers the appearance of a male, although depending on how an entity or force is acting, it could be considered male or female, right? Positive, negative, all that good stuff. Next we go down to Abaddon. Abaddon, we have Shekala, and we have Lucifer Raquel. Everybody knows Lucifer Raquel, a three-horned dude, tricornu, who is called in voodooism. Three-horned one, that's what it means. And then we descend below the what's commonly called the abyss, but what is actually not the abyss, as I've expressed before. It's just the first level of the abyss, because there are 3 levels of the abyss. The first one is Ha-Tohu. The prince of Ha-Tohu is Dumas. His name means silence, and he looks pretty cool. I'll just send you a picture, right? It's hard to explain it. So then once we get down Ha-Tohu, we get to Ha-Tehom, which is the second level of the abyss. And here are the 3 palaces of Sheol. The 3 palaces of Sheol, the prince of the first palace, or rather the sub-prince, because Qlippoth are, they're many, but they're one. They're commonly called like cohorts, but they all just live inside one demon. And so the Qlippoth / sub-ruler of the first palace of Sheol is Satario. Satario, he looks kind of cool. He has like a golden helmet on, and the prince, the ruler of the first palace of Sheol, is Ishet Zenonim. Ishet Zenonim looks exactly like Medusa. This is the Gorgon. There are 3 Gorgons. Greek mythology. There's a lot of truth in Greek mythology. The Greeks knew more than people think. It's not mythology, because they actually went down and they worked with these forces, these powers. And so the Gorgon Medusa is based on Ishet Zenonim, the woman of whoredom. And whoredom just means going after other gods. That's what Yahweh be like. Oh, you're whoring around with it means not serving him. It means serving other gods. And then so that's Ishet Zenonim. Then we descend down to the second palace of Sheol, and there we find Agiel as the sub-ruler. I prefer calling them sub-rulers. Qlippoth works too, and the prince, archdemon / ruler of the second palace of Sheol is Samael. Samael, viper. The name means venom of God. And then we go down to the third palace of Sheol, which is the Qlippothic Kether. Again, we do not use Kether or those names, and the princes here are Thaumiel and Satan Moloch. Satan Moloch is the archdemon and prince of Etzmoth, tree of death, and he looks pretty cool. And so Alistair Crowley, he said that, or he would teach rather, that Satan Moloch was Satan and Moloch, 2 entities finding contention against the unity of Kether, but that's not true. Satan Moloch is a title. It means king adversary, and that's why he is the king adversary of the third palace of Sheol. He's like the prince of the tree of death. They are princes of the abyss, below Ha-Tehom, below the palace of Sheol in Ha-Tehom Rabbah. But that is something for another day. And so these are the cohorts, the Qlippoth /Qlippoth, and the princes / archdemons of the 10 palaces of hell. We get to the colors of the hells, the portal symbols, how to descend to them, you know, and we will begin carving their power. We will begin achieving equivalence of form with the particular hell we're working with, and achieving grades of initiation, advancing in power and presence. Hail Satan. All right, so we're now at the point in our practice where we actually begin to practice the demonic practice, demonism. So I will post a script for frame right and for the vow of allegiance, because you must spread your allegiance to Satan and his demons before you can communicate with them. All right, so we are going to vow allegiance to Satan, the powers of hell. I will list the ritual for that. How to call the 4 crown princes of hell from the 4 corners of the earth, not the 4 corners of hell from the Standard Bible. The 4 evil kings, the demon kings, and so we're going to have that. So once you swear your allegiance to Satan and you perform the rite of allegiance, you then will have the ability to communicate. And so now we communicate, right? And so we're going to put a pendulum evocation. I will demonstrate the ritual of pendulum evocation. However, first we'll talk about it for a little bit, and the language that we use, and and you have to have a better understanding of everything. And once you understand, because other teachers, they say do this, do that, do this, but they don't say the whys and the wherefores. We're going to bypass the whys and wherefores. We're going to give explanation of the whys and wherefores rather, and then you practice. Right. So the language we use is Enochian language, as all those who practice should know. But this is for beginners. Is the language communicated John Dee in the 1500s. 1582, I believe, is when they first started actual communications with him and his squire Raquel. John Dee was the court astrologer of Queen Elizabeth I of England. He was actually scrying for some time before this, but he wasn't a very good scryer, so he had limited potential with his the communication by himself. So he recruited Edward Kelly. Edward Kelly was very good at this stuff. And their recordings are available in a number of prints that are available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and other sites, if you want to look deeper into Enochian magic. Also, Donald Tyson, I mentioned again, he had a very good book on Enochian magic called Enochian Magic for Beginners. And Donald Tyson, he actually has some good stuff, right? But so Enochian's language we use is language of the fallen angels. Madimi was the primary guide, if you will, for John Dee, and they are in fact not angels. They were fallen angels. Angels at one time, I guess you could say, but after the fall, they're powerful entities, And so when demons were the primary sources of their information, it would appear as a small girl in the scrying crystal. And again, images are an expression of their nature. It was an innocent being just trying to communicate truth to mankind. And the purpose of the Enochian language was to open the gates so that mankind can access this stuff for themselves. This is to open the gates in the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the portal between the 4th dimension and the 3rd dimension. And the Enochian language is the key. When we get there to demon call, we will use Enochian for our calls. Also for the present, we will use Enochian for our pendulum evocation, because we open the gate within our subconscious minds and therefore receive communication to the pendulum board. That's how we receive the name of the demon we work with, the how it's from, and then we descend and we call it forth, and the door opens, and then we know more than people who read books know. Okay. So there are 19 Enochian keys. The 19th Enochian key it serves. It's actually 30 keys, because I think in the first sentence, the word in like the Standard Bible, for instance, the word Lil Lil is name of one of the 30 Enochian ethers. And when you practice, you just change that
word right there to access the different ethers. But we don't need to worry about that. I personally haven't used the 19th Noken key. I use only the ones necessary. The first Noken key is what we will use to open the gate to communicate with demons, fallen angels, entities, spirits, angels, even whatever you want to communicate with. The first Noken key is going to work. The transliteration of the Noken language as espoused by Anton LaVey, the Satanic Bible, is fairly accurate. These are the transliterations used by Aleister Crowley, because we hear how they're said, how the words are spoken, and it's just vowels are inserted to pronounce the words correctly, because you have to pronounce the words correctly, right? And it's kind of similar to Hebrew, how Hebrew doesn't have any vowels; it's all just consonants, you know, and so the vowels have to be inserted in order to pronounce the words right. The Hebrew language itself, as a digression, is actually a reconstruction, because the original Hebrew has been lost to mankind, and that's why they say the proper pronunciation of the Shem Hamfarash and the proper pronunciation of Hebrew language, or the name of Yahweh rather, have been lost because they do not know the proper pronunciation. The rest of us know, but you know, those who know, you know, but for exoterically, it's been lost, you know, and so Ben Yehuda was the one who translated the Hebrew language. He was a Zionist. He wanted to reconstruct the Hebrew language because he had the hope of reconstituting the state of Israel. And part of their plan was to reconstruct the Hebrew language, to give their people a language, establish a state, and all that good stuff. After World War II, then World War II, they finally established the state of Israel in 1948. You know, so these were all parts of their plan to bring their language and the peoples back into, you know, mainstream, and try to gain control, right? So, you know, there's a lot to it. You know, it has nothing to do with that course we're doing right now. Anyways, so Enochian language, that's why you see different spans of the words, because a different priest, they insert vowels, punctuation marks to give you the proper pronunciation to open these gates. All right. So I will include a list of a pronunciation guide to how to pronounce the vowels, and we will use the first Noken key. We first start with there'll be a number of steps in impediment invocation. If you follow the steps, you will establish communication. We'll first start with the prayer of Satan. The prayer of Satan will give you the power to communicate. The first Noken key will open the gates for you to communicate. We then progress to step 3, which would be the call to Samael. Samael is a demonic prince. He's from the second palace of Sheol. By calling upon the name of Samael, the venom of his name is the venom of God, but you know what God we're talking about. And he will constrain the demon to communicate with you. Next to be a conjuration. With the conjuration, you will personally, after you acquire the power to communicate from Satan, you've opened the gates with the Noken keys. After the demon has been sent from hell with Samael, you now constrain it with your conjuration, and you then welcome it, you communicate with it, and you ask your questions. There'll be a list of questions to ask in order to be a priest or priestess of Satan, and then from there we go on to demon call. Once you're on this, once you establish communication, we then use a demon call to go down there and then acquire our grades of initiation, right? And then you are self-initiated. Again, you would never have to meet any of us until a certain point. At some point you will, if you make it. But if you do not, you're still going to be 7th degree regardless. You still see stuff that no one else in the general population ever has, you know? So, so those are the steps. That's the language we're using. I will give an example of using the pendulum board in actual practice and show you how it works, and you would never again need another master, and you're going to do some good stuff, I promise you. Hail Satan. Okay, so now we have all the basics down. We've body relaxation, mind moves matter. We've established communication with the demons. Before that, we swore our allegiance to Satan. We now know the satanic frame right. We have performed it, and the demons have hailed you as a brother or sister and friend. Our next step now is to go down and to actually acquire the power of this fallen angel, which you have some communication with. But however, as a short digression, I will say first,
My backgrounds always change. My environment changes. I'm always on the road helping out initiates. You would never see me surrounded by black altars and pentagrams and mighty plastic tridents as some high priests have around them, which is all fucking nonsense. Don't need it. We are mystics. We do not use symbolism and all that stuff for, we do not need it. So, if I'm in a car, at a park, inside of a house, I'm in a mansion, wherever the heck I'm at, who cares, right? The main thing is that we are acquiring information, knowledge, and the guidance to acquire power, which would then result in actually requiring power, right? So now we're going down. We're going to cover some of the Enochian invocations we're going to use for the descent. I'm also going to post an image of the colors of the spheres. So the first sphere, which is the first palace of Gehenna, is going to be a black sphere flecked with green. So you're going to imagine it's going to be the black sphere. It's going to be green. The second palace of Gehenna, what's equivalent to Yesod in the Kabbalah, is going to be the purple sphere. Zalmoth, the equivalent of Hod, is going to be a orange sphere flecked yellow, so like orange yellowish. Sharmoth, the equivalent of Netzach, is going to be green. Titalion, the equivalent of Tifereth, is going to be yellow. Be'er Shakath, the equivalent of Geburah, is going to be red. Then when you go down to Abaddon, Abaddon is going to be blue, equivalent of Hesed, or Hesed, whichever, the dialect you're using. Alright, and so that's as far as you're going to get. The Palace of Shield, that's you can't go there yet. So we're going to cover those spheres. You're going to go down. I'm going to show a video of actually praying to the demons, how you do it. First you have to open up with the prayer to Satan. You open up the prayer to Satan. We're going to be prostrated like the Muslims do, because it's a form of submission. You're going to say a prayer to Satan, and also we've already asked the questions that we need to ask. The name of the demon, how it's from, and what percentage of your flesh that you can surrender, because you must not exceed this percent. You must stick to if they say 20%, 5%, 50%, whatever, stick to that. And if you ask them on, they cannot lie. They can't lie. They must answer truthfully. So now that you've asked them all of your questions, how much gates you can handle open, the percent to surrender, the name, how it's from, now you're ready to go, right? And so you're gonna be prostrated, say a prayer to Satan. You're gonna call the demon's name and say, I surrender X amount of my percent to this demon. And now that you know how to move energy with your mind, you're gonna breathe it into. You're gonna breathe it into. You're gonna close your mind, and you imagine a red triangle below you, and then say, "I surrender X amount of percent of my body, soul, and spirit to N, to the name of the demon." And then breathe in, and you're breathing in black smoke from the red triangle that's coming from hell into you. Do this for about 10 minutes. Keep breathing. Breathe into your palm. You're breathing into your palms. Of course, no gloves on. And breathe into your palms. It's going to go up your arms, into your chest, into your head, and then you imagine eyes forming behind yours, because this is the demon entering your body. And eyes behind yours, right? And then you rotate. You're going to breathe in, and the black smoke from the triangle below you is coming up. It's going to go into your forehead, your third eye. Imagine a red triangle on your forehead. It's coming in, and as it circulates inside you, as you breathe, the face forming behind yours. Imagine a face of black smoke forming behind yours, and eyes forming behind yours. You can also ask the demon what color it is. Its flesh, like if it's reptilian, breathe in black smoke flecked green. If its skin is gray, breathe in black smoke flecked gray, like black grayish smoke, right? You get the idea. And so that's how you're gonna do it. Eventually, you will actually see its face and the color of its eyes. So once you have the color of its eyes too, you can incorporate that. For instance, when you're prostrated and you're breathing in, its eyes separate from the red triangle below you, and goes in one eye goes to this palm, one eye goes through this palm, and you imagine the eyes going up your arms and forming a face within your chest. And you exhale. Breathing again, and now the face is rising behind yours,
like that. And the whole time you'll be saying invocations like go Hossa, the Isa, or Dazo Dimi. Say the demon's name. That means I say come and enter, and you say the name, right? And so I'm gonna list all the various invocations, and you will feel intuitively what to say, when to say it. And I'll show you the different forms of forming the triangle with your hands as you breathe in. Because there's gonna be different ways. You're breathing like that, and you make your triangle with your forehead, with your hands on your forehead like that, right? And so that's gonna be the next video, right? And so you start breathing like that, and so even just this simple beginning, the demon and the power of the how it's from will begin entering you. And you will start seeing changes right away. You will start experiencing shit. The things you want to happen in your life, they will start happening. Whether it's a better job, whether it's a raise at your job, whether you're trying to get a loan, you're trying to move somewhere, and it's gonna happen. It's totally gonna happen. I promise you. Right? And so this is gonna be the first step of the call. So after you do this for about 10 minutes, just breathing and smoking from various ways. Then in your imagination, you form an astral body yourself. Just imagine yourself dropping through the triangle. You drop through the triangle now, and you come to the first sphere, the first possible Gehenna. It's going to be red and black. And you're going to say the name of the hell, the name of the Qlippoth, and the name of the demon. And as you say this, you imagine the sphere getting wider. Like you're going to say caitahnyah, Lilith, Belial. And you're going to see the sphere just get bigger, the black and green sphere, and drop inside it. And you say, open the mysteries of your creation. So if your demon is from this sphere, then you're going to imagine a wooden door pop up in your mind. And the wooden door is going to have the symbol for the portal symbol for Gehenna on it. And you pass through that in your mind, and you'll see like an entryway into that hell. And then the throne, and we're gonna cover all that in the next video. But this is to give you an idea what we're gonna do. If he's not from this particular hell, then after you say Oroku Kali Kwa, instead of seeing the wooden door, you're gonna see a triangle window open up inside this sphere and drop through that. So you're gonna drop through that, and then you're gonna see the purple sphere of the second palace again, which equivalent of your soul. You're gonna see a sphere, and you're gonna say Gehenna, Gamaliel, Lilith, because Lilith the outer, Odo, and then you're gonna drop inside the sphere, and you're gonna say Odo Ki Kale Kwa. And if he's from this sphere, then you see the wooden door, pass through it, and then we take it from there. If not, you're gonna see a window open up to the bottom left. I just say Odo Ki Kale Kwa, and you're gonna see down to your left the orange yellow sphere of Zalmoth, and go down there, so on and so forth. So I'm gonna list the food rituals. And we're going to have a food demonstration of that, But this is it's super simple, and once you get the steps down, once you imagine an upside down tree directly below you, because on your right side is going to be the pillar of mercy. On your left side is going to be the pillar of judgment. In the center is of course going to be the middle pillar, right? So we're on your left side is going to be the Hold, the Gebura, and then Binah, right? And then on the right side is going to be Nitzak, Hesed, and then Kokma, right? And then the center, you know what these are. But this gives you the idea. The trees are directly below you. This is your tree, and you're dropping down to the red triangle to get in there. And so next video, demonstration of that, and again all of the diagrams and actual rituals are going to be printed out, and we're making progress. Hail Satan. Okay, so now we from Demon Call we practice meditation, visualization, middle pillar. We know the satanic framework. We made our vow of allegiance to Satan. We've established communication. We got the name of the demon, where hell it's from, how much percentage of your body you can surrender, and so now we go down, right? The portal symbols, of course, are going to be listed for each hell. So this is going to be just a basic demonstration of how we're going to actually do the call.
So I'll tell myself like this. Hail Satan. Hail Satan. Hail Satan. And hands are like this, like a triangle in front of you. My father Satan, which art in hell, hallowed is thy name. Thy kingdom has come. Thy will is done on earth as it is in hell. I take this night my rightful due, and trespass not and pass of shame. Lead me unto temptation, and deliver me from false piety. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Hail Satan. Also, when you put your hands forward, make it like a triangle like that. Because this is going to be a triangle that coming through it. Triangle here, triangle here, triangle here, but still be going like this, right? And so when you start to call, your hands will be a different way. You know intuitively what to do, but you're gonna start forming triangles different ways. Triangle like this. Also you come down like this. If I can see right. This point, and forward the top of the triangle. So it's gonna be like this, you know. And your breathe in, it's gonna come up, do this triangle like that. You know, so that's gonna be one way to do it. So if you say a prayer to Satan, then then you can speak from the heart. Pray to Satan, and then also say so for instance, I'm gonna do Zelmoth. I'll say demons from Zelmoth, right? Call Bulbreeze. I'll say 10%, right? So let's say we're gonna Bulbreeze. He's from the second howl, right? Which is Zelmoth, and he's from 10%, right? So if you say the prayer to Satan, and you thank him, you say, my brother Bulbreeze, I surrender 10% of my body, soul, and my spirit unto you. Come forth from Zelmoth, from the depths of hell, and possess my flesh. I surrender unto you. I give you myself into my body. In the name of Satan, I say enter. And you can say other things like the Isa, Gohusan, Isa, Odazo Demi means rise and enter, right? So basically, use different invocations and speak from your heart. There's no exact script how to do it. You just say what comes to mind, because they're going to help you, they're going to assist you. And so after you do that, then you start breathing in, and there's going to be a red triangle below you. A red triangle below like this. And after you say that, I surrender 10% of my body, soul, and spirit unto the ball breathe. I say rise in the name of Satan, and I start breathing in, and then the smoke starts coming into your palms, up your arms, like the last one we talked about. Rotate into your forehead. Start breathing in, right? And then do that for about 10 minutes. Move your hands, don't have to be together. You come like this, breathe in. And you imagine a red triangle below you, a red triangle with your hands in your forehead, and come into the triangle like that, right? So there's gonna be different ways to do it. Just keep doing that for about 10 minutes, different ways. You go like this, and breathe them in. And the whole time you can stay silent if you want to. You can just keep breathing in. Imagine the black smoke rising. The eyes going through your palms. Keep saying his name. Come. And the name of Satan, I say come. You know, so there's a lot of different ways to do it. But the whole time it'll be frustrating. You know, that I surrender myself to you. My power is yours. My power comes from you. I acknowledge you as the source of my strength. You know, it's a form of submission. We surrender that we become masters, right? And so once you master them, then you know they're with you. You have their power, and then you move on to another demon, and then that's gonna be later on, you know. But this is so let's say so do that. So I'm here for 10 minutes. I'm calling, move my hands different ways like this, put them in front of me like a triangle like this. Breathe them into my palms. Do the right triangle below me, of my arms into my chest. Eyes forming my chest. Up again. A face forming behind mine. The eyes forming behind mine. Do this for 10 minutes. And then now we're going to talk to the demons below. Demons below us, right? So I said to them, like, my brethren from the depths of hell, gatekeepers, I ask you to open wide the gates of your creation, that the demons may rise into my flesh. And then you drop through. In your mind, you imagine a mental body of yourself, and you fall to the triangle. And now we see, now we're going to see the first part of Gehenna. Drop down, Gehenna. Lilith, Belial, drop into it. Although Ikela Morningstar. There's going to be a triangle window open below that. Drop through, purple sphere.
Gehenna. Gamaliel, Lilith, drop into this purple sphere. Odo Ikela Morningstar. Drop through a triangle again to the left side of it, like we talked about in the last video. Then we go down to the orange-yellow sphere of Zelmoth. We're going to say Zelmoth, Samael, Mulberry. Now drop into the sphere. But now this time, since demon you're calling is from Zelmoth, you're going to, once you drop into the sphere, then you're going to see the wooden door. I'm going to say, Odo Ikela Morningstar. And when the door pops up with a pearl symbol for Zelmoth on it, and in your mind, you're going to pass through it. Now when you pass through the door, you should receive an image of that hell. You see like it'd be like a separate entryway, right? If it's all black, it's okay. Come back through. Say Zelmoth, Samael, and Bulbrith again, or Do Ikela Morningstar, pass through. Do that 3 times, and you should receive it. If you don't receive an image, if you still don't receive an image, then for now you can just imagine like a temple with the altar and 2 pillars behind it. The balance, right? But that's if you don't receive an actual image of the hell at first, But for now, just to get you started, do that. And then once you pass the door, whether you see a actual image or it's all just black in your mind still, that's fine. Either way, you're gonna see a throne scene right there. So you're gonna see a throne now, and then you're gonna say, okay, this is Bobby. My brother Bobby, go hussars on the Corey, orders on the Marnu. My brother Bobby, I say move and appear. And then you see in your mind, sitting on the altar, on the throne rather, either in the actual hell or in the throne that you imagine, you're gonna see an image of smoke forming on that throne. And so, the smoke is forming on the throne. And when I say, my brother Bobby, I surrender myself unto thee. I prostrate myself before you, before thy throne. I call you upon me. I release you from hell, my brother. I'll send in power and presence into the world of the descendants of Adam, and join me upon this earth. Go hussa de isa odazo dimi. And I start breathing in. And so now what we're doing is your mental body that's in the hell, you're breathing the smoke into that. And so now you're feeling your mental body that's in this throne room, breathing the smoke in from off that throne. And at least 3 times say ni isa odazo dimi. Come and enter, and 3 long breaths into you, and this is your mental body that's down there. So now we're doing that, and we can do it as long as you want, but at least three times, just to, because you're acquiring the power from that hell and from that demon. And on the 3rd or 4th time, or how much time you do it, you now imagine yourself becoming that demon. And so now you are the demon, and you're about to raise back up into the world of the descendants of Adam. Then you're going to say, my brother Bobri, go hussa Torah zodu, do oyape Satan, go hussa Torah zodu. My brother Bobri, I say arise. In the name of Satan, I say arise. And so now you're going to come back. You come back the way that you went down. So now you're going to turn back around, and you're going to exit out of hell. And now you're back out into the orange yellow sphere. You're going to say, Bobri, go hussa Torah zodu. So every time you get to another sphere, you say the demon's name. Now I say rise, and rise up to the next sphere. So now we're going to say, Bobri, go hussa Torah zodu. And now the demon's rising up into the purple sphere. Once you get the purple sphere, but look around, try to see to the demon's eyes. And now you're rising demon. You say different things like, my brother, ascend in power, presence, and rise from hell, rise to the gates of Gehenna. And now once you enter Gehenna, you're going to say, go hussa Bobri Torah zodu. And now you're going to rise into the black and green sphere of the first palace. And so now once we're back up to the top sphere, there's one that's directly below you. In your imagination, look up and see your body and the triangle up above you. And so now we're going to say in Enochian, in the name of Satan, I say rise and enter. So as you're looking through this demon's eyes up, we're going to say, Do oyape Satan, go hussa ni isa Torah zodu. But this time we're going to go like this. We're going to do the hand things like this. All right. So again, imagine your demon's eyes looking up, come to a triangle, and breathe in. And then picture this rising back into your body, and you can switch consciousness back and forth. Like you can see it rising into you from below, and see it rising up to you from you're coming up. So both ways, move your consciousness back and forth, and then now and imagine your entire body being formed, and not just here, but your whole Your whole body can feel it. Do that 3 times. Go husa ni isa oda zodiri. Whole body can feel it. Go husa ni isa oda zodimi bobri. But again, you can mix up which one I say, but this space I would do it. I do that these 3 times, and imagine your entire body now the demon are one. My brother, I thank you for rising upon me. Hail, Bobberies. Hail, Satan. That's it. It's super simple. Of course, it's going to be longer than that. And interspersed with different invocations, different prayers. And, but yeah, that's it. And you will become more than one. I promise you. It's good shit, dude. Again, I'm gonna list all the rights for everything. And and there's more after this. Hail Satan. Okay, so now I got the basics down. Now we're going to talk communication. And so there are a number of forms of communication. Like I said, there's audible communication. There's images that got put in your mind. But the first step to get there that works for anybody is pendulum evocation. Pendulum evocation is similar to using a Ouija board. But Ouija boards don't really work that good unless you have like 2 or 3 people with them for some reason. Then it starts flying everywhere and spelling stuff and stuff. But pendulum, if you use the right, which was received from one of these entities, it'll work for you. It totally works. It starts you'll receive a name. You will receive how it's from, and then we go down. We go to the ritual of descension, and then we go down and call this guy up. So that's where we're start talking about that for a little bit. First we talk about scrying, because pendulum evocation is a form of scrying. Now what scrying is, the different forms of scrying, and all of them entail receiving information from your subconscious mind. Because the subconscious mind is a portal. When the subconscious receives information from the 4th dimension, it tries to find a way to communicate this mind to conscious awareness. If you're using a black mirror, the information would be ocular. So you start seeing images. The images will not be on the actual black mirror per se. However, that's how your mind's to translate, is trying to get to conscious awareness what's happening, what's seeing, what it's receiving, and so that's how it works. When you use something like a pendulum board or a Ouija board, the information will be translated through subconscious impulses in your hands, and the pendulum will start moving. However, with pendulum evocation, there is another aspect to it, because astral cones of light form around the pendulum. Those with second sight can see it. The finger holding the pendulum, they have a cone of light going down like that, and then there would be another cone of light going down to the board. So it could be kind of like an hourglass of energy. And at first, the pendulum will start moving really slow, but then there'll be times where it starts swinging almost like a helicopter, so, and you're not moving at all. You're standing here like this, and the sucker is flying around because it starts to subconscious impulses, but the energy is generated, and astral cones of force are generated, and you get the sucker going like that, right? And sometimes it can fly out of your hands. And I will give a video later on using the pendulum board in actual practice. But right now I just want to talk a little bit about how how scrying works and how it works. I read some excellent books when I was younger on the topic. Scrying for Beginners by Donald Tyson was a really good one. He exposited very well, I think, on how the different modes of scrying. And I think he mentioned pendulum scrying in that as well. Because all forms of scrying are just receiving information from the subconscious. So that's how we do it, right? And also sometimes when you're using the board, there's going to be there'll be times when you've seen the board spelling something, you're gonna think in your mind, okay, I already know what it's gonna spell. It's not you. It's not you just spelling what you think. It's not you just spelling the words out. the words come into your mind sometimes, and then so you intuitively know what it's going to spell, and that's what it spells. Sometimes it doesn't always spell what you think it's going to spell, but that's how it works, because your mind, your subconscious mind is trying to communicate to you, and so that's how these forms of communication work. Right, and so we're going to get to the ritual of pendulum evocation. The ritual of pendulum evocation I received in 2009 when I was first trying to find a way to communicate, because I'd already seen demons. My first initiator had guided me on how to start working with these forces, right? And so when I started following some of what he told me and what I learned on my own. That's when I created a pendulum board. I did not know pendulum boards existed. I thought I made it up, and I was actually laughing years later when I looked inside of a catalog. I think it was called Azure Green. They had a lot of good shit. Looking at part of my language, when I looked at Azure Green, I saw pendulum boards, and I started laughing because I did not know they existed. I'm like, what the heck? So so what it is, they put dots in their heads, as we said before, right? And so people who practice from different sides at different times and different parts of the globe will come up with the same things, the same mythologies, the same religions, essentially the different names based on time and circumstance, because it's the same forces putting the thoughts in our minds. And I started laughing when I saw the pendulum board. I'm like, what the heck? That exists? I thought I made it up. But so I started working with that. I got in communication with my first demon guide, and we started our call. It told me what hell was from, and I started working from there. And it gave me the ritual of pendulum evocation, because I wanted to contact the spirits of the Goetia. The spirits of the Goetia, everyone knows the 72 spirits. And it gave me the ritual. It told me with the prayers, the order of the prayers, and what to use for anyone to contact these entities. And it works with not only spirits of Goetia, with any demon, And so that was received towards the end 2009. And I've been using it as a prophet. All my initiates have been using it as a prophet. It's been working for everyone so far. It'll work for anyone who follows the rites, the instructions that the demon gave me. It totally worked, And so that's how scrying works. The subconscious trying to communicate information to the conscious mind. And that's how pendulum evocation works. It's just the mind translating the information came through from the fourth dimension. All right, and so on the next video, we will have the ritual of pendulum evocation, and we will start practicing that. Then we will have a ritual of offering, because in order to keep working with these forces, you need to make our offerings and things like that, and prayers, and and so this is the next step. And again, this was just a quick video to let you know how scrying works. The mode of communication we're going to be using. Once you advance further down your practice, again, you start seeing them and hearing them and everything. You don't really need a pendulum board anymore, unless you want a particular question at a certain time, and because the voices don't always come through for everybody. So that's so the pendulum board will always come in handy. And we also talk about other uses for the pendulum that you could use outside of ritual practice, just to get answers for stuff, because even though you're not in a ritual context, you will still be able to use a pendulum once you have your guide, right, and the guide he answer your questions, right, and so once you're at this level, which is you could ask yes no questions by holding the pendulum over your palm of your hand, and it swing up and down for yes and no, or for yes rather, side to side for no, 45-degree angle for maybe, and so, but yeah, we will we'll touch on all that stuff, and let's get this started. Hey, I'm saying. All right, so we're now at the point in our practice where we actually begin to practice the demonic practice, demonism. So I will post a script for frame right and for the vow of allegiance, because you must spread your allegiance to Satan and his demons before you can communicate with them. All right, so we are going to vow allegiance to Satan, the powers of hell, I will list the ritual for that. How to call the 4 crown princes of hell from the 4 corners of the earth, not the 4 corners of the hell from the Standard Bible, the 4 evil kings, the demon kings, and so we're gonna have that. So once you swear your allegiance to Satan and you perform the rite of allegiance, you then will have the ability to communicate. And so now we communicate, right? And so we're going to put pendulum evocation. I will demonstrate the ritual of pendulum evocation. However, first we'll talk about it for a little bit, and the language that we use, and and you have to have a better understanding of everything. And once you understand, because other teachers, they say do this, do that, do this, but they don't say the whys and the wherefores. We're going to bypass the whys and wherefores. We're going to give explanation of the whys and wherefores rather, and then you practice. Right. So the language we use is Enochian language, as all those who practice should know. But this is for beginners. Is the language communicated John Dee in the 1500s. 1582, I believe, is when they first started actual communications with him and his squire Raquel. John Dee was the court astrologer of Queen Elizabeth I of England. He was actually scrying for some time before this, but he wasn't a very good scryer, so he had limited potential with his the communication by himself. So he recruited Raquel was very good at this stuff. And their recordings are available in a number of prints that are available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and other sites. If you want to look deeper into Enochian magic, also Donald Tyson, I mentioned again, he had a very good book on Enochian magic called Enochian Magic for Beginners, and Donald Tyson, he actually has some good stuff, right? But so Enochian's language we use is language of the fallen angels. Madimi was the primary guide, if you will, for John Dee, and they are in fact not angels. They were fallen angels at one time, I guess you could say. But after the fall, these are powerful entities, And so when these were the primary sources of their information, it would appear as a small girl in the scrying crystal. And again, images are an expression of their nature. It was an innocent being just trying to communicate truth to mankind. And the purpose of the Enochian language was to open the gates so that mankind can access this stuff for themselves. This is to open the gates in the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the portal between the 4th dimension and the 3rd dimension. And the Enochian language is the key. When we get there to the demon call, we will use Enochian for our calls. Also for the present, we will use Enochian for our pendulum evocation, because you open the gate within our subconscious minds and therefore receive communication through the pendulum board. That's how we receive the name of the demon to work with, the house from, and then we descend and we call it forth, and the door opens, and then we know more than people who read books know. Okay. So there are 19 Enochian keys. The 19th Enochian key it serves. It's actually 30 keys, because I think in the first sentence, the word in like the Standard Bible, for instance, the word Lil Lil is name of one of the 30 Enochian ethers. And when you practice, you just change that word right there to access the different ethers. But we don't worry about that. I personally haven't used the 19th Enochian key. I use only the one necessary. The first Enochian key is what we will use to open the gate to communicate with demons, fallen angels, entities, spirits, angels, even whatever you want to communicate with. The first Enochian key is going to work. The transliteration of the Enochian language as espoused by Anton LaVey, the Satanic Bible, is fairly accurate. These are the transliterations used by Aleister Crowley, because we hear how they're said, how the words are spoken, and it's just vowels are inserted to pronounce the words correctly, because you have to pronounce the words correctly, right? And it's kind of similar to Hebrew, how Hebrew doesn't have any vowels; it's all just consonants, and so the vowels have to be inserted in order to pronounce the words right. The Hebrew language itself, as a digression, is actually a reconstruction because the original Hebrew has been lost to mankind, and that's why they say the proper pronunciation of Lishem Hamfarash and the proper pronunciation of the Hebrew language, or the name of Yahweh rather, have been lost because they do not know the proper pronunciation. The rest of us know, but those who know, but for exoterically, it's been lost. And so Ben Yehuda was the one who translated the Hebrew language. He was a Zionist. He wanted to reconstruct the Hebrew language because he had the hope of reconstituting the state of Israel. And part of their plan was to reconstruct the Hebrew language, to give their people a language, establish a state, and all that good stuff. After World War II, then World War II, they finally established the state of Israel in 1948. So these were all parts of their plan to bring their language and the peoples back into mainstream and try to gain control, right? So there's that to it. It has nothing to do with that course we're doing right now. Anyways, so Enochian language, that's why you see different spans of the words, because a different priest they insert vowels, punctuation marks to give you the proper pronunciation to open these gates. All right. So I will include a list of a pronunciation guide to how to pronounce the vowels. And we will use the first Enochian key. We first start with there'll be a number of steps in impediment invocation. If you follow the steps, you will establish communication. We'll first start with the prayer of Satan. The prayer of Satan will give you the power to communicate. The first Enochian key will open the gates for you to communicate. We then progress to step 3, which would be the call to Samael. Samael is a demonic prince. He's from the second palace of Sheol. By calling upon the name of Samael, the venom of his name is the venom of God, but you know what God we're talking about. And he will constrain the demon to communicate with you. Next to be a conjuration. With a conjuration, you will personally, after you acquire the power to communicate from Satan, you open the gates with the Enochian keys. After the demon has been sent from hell with Samael, you now constrain it with your conjuration, and you then welcome it, you communicate with it, and you ask your questions. There'll be a list of questions to ask in order to be a priest or priestess of Satan, and then from there we go on to demon call. Once you're on this, once you establish communication, we then use demon call to go down there and then acquire our grades of initiation, right? And then you are self-initiated. Again, you would never have to meet any of us until a certain point. At some point you will, if you make it. But if you do not, you're still going to be 7th degree regardless. You still see stuff that no one else in the general population ever has, So, so those are the steps. That's the language we're using. I will give an example of using the pendulum board in actual practice and show you how it works, and you will never again need another master, and you're going to do some good stuff, I promise you. Hail Satan.